For over a century, the discovery of King Tutankhamun's tomb has dazzled the world, a golden treasure trove buried deep in the Valley of the Kings, untouched for thousands of years. But what if the story we've been told isn't the truth? What if behind the sparkle of gold and the romanticism of a boy pharaoh lies a web of deception, rushed decisions, and perhaps even a carefully crafted illusion? Discovered in 1922 by British archaeologist Howard Carter, the tomb of Tutankhamun was instantly hailed as the most extraordinary archaeological discovery of all time. Tucked away in the arid cliffs of Egypt's Valley of the Kings, the burial site was a chamber overflowing with dazzling treasures. Gilded shrines, jeweled amulets, golden chariots, and sacred statues. The sheer volume and opulence of the artifacts stunned the world and reignited global fascination with ancient Egypt. Yet, behind the glimmering surface of this find lies a deeper, more troubling mystery, one that has baffled scholars for over a century. As archaeologists and historians have re-examined the evidence with a more critical eye, a pattern of inconsistencies has begun to emerge. These aren't just isolated anomalies. They form a picture that challenges our long-held beliefs about who was really buried in the tomb, why it was constructed the way it was, and whether it truly belonged to Tutankhamun at all. The first major red flag is the tomb itself. It is strikingly modest for a pharaoh. Compared to the grand, elaborate burial complexes of rulers like Ramses II or Seti I, Tutankhamun's tomb is small, cramped, and relatively simple. It lacks the monumental scale, intricate corridors, and multiple chambers typically designed to honor Egypt's most divine rulers. Everything about it feels temporary, hurried, even improvised. More curious is the tomb's layout. In traditional royal burials, symbolism guided every architectural decision. Male pharaohs' tombs were designed to bend left after the entrance, a direction linked to masculine cosmic order. But Tutankhamun's tomb bends right, a configuration seen only in the tomb of Hatshepsut, Egypt's powerful female pharaoh. In ancient Egypt, where design and symbolism were deeply sacred, this isn't just a quirky feature, it's a glaring deviation. Why would a male king be interred in a layout associated with female royalty? This detail has led many experts to question whether the tomb was ever meant for him. Increasingly, it seems likely that the space was originally prepared for someone else, perhaps a royal woman such as Nefertiti or another member of the Amarna family, and repurposed at the last minute for Tutankhamun's burial. That's only the beginning. When researchers studied the burial treasures more closely, a shocking pattern emerged. Many of the items weren't made for Tutankhamun at all. They had been repurposed. The most iconic of all, the golden death mask, was found to bear evidence of alteration. Beneath the engraved name of Tutankhamun, another name had once been inscribed. It was likely scraped away and replaced. Some experts believe that name may have been Nefertiti's. This pattern is repeated throughout the tomb. The canopic jars, meant to house the king's organs, feature distinctly feminine facial features. Coffins and gilded shrines display construction and inscriptions inconsistent with Tutankhamun's brief reign. Some of these artifacts appear to have been created for other royals, possibly Akhenaten's elusive co-regent, Smenkhare. Even the amulets and statues exhibit signs of reuse, with mismatched stylistic elements or alterations that were poorly disguised. Almost every item in the tomb was secondhand. That's an astonishing fact. Pharaohs spent years preparing for their death, commissioning master artisans to create bespoke items adorned with sacred symbols, spells, and detailed inscriptions. Tutankhamun ruled Egypt for nearly a decade, long enough to prepare a rich and personalized burial. Yet his final resting place looks like a storeroom of recycled relics. Why? It suggests something deeply unsettling. That the burial was rushed, improvised, or never meant for him in the first place. Even more troubling is the condition of the mummy itself. Tutankhamun's body was not just decomposed, it was burned. Forensic scans revealed evidence that the mummy had been charred at temperatures exceeding 200 degrees Celsius. That level of heat inside a sealed tomb is beyond unusual. Initially, scholars blamed a chemical reaction caused by embalming oils reacting with oxygen and the linen wrappings. But others argue the burning may have occurred much later, possibly even during Carter's excavation. But if it happened earlier, during burial, The implication is shocking. This wasn't just a burial gone wrong. It was a disaster. The abnormalities don't end there. Most shockingly, Tutankhamun's heart was missing. In ancient Egyptian belief, the heart was sacred. It was the seat of emotion, intelligence, and judgment in the afterlife. It was so important that special rituals and prayers were conducted to protect it. Yet in Tutankhamun's burial, the heart was gone. Not damaged, not misplaced, but deliberately absent. Some speculate that it decayed before it could be preserved. But this theory fails under scrutiny. Egyptian embalmers were masters of preservation, often maintaining fragile tissues like eyelids and fingernails for millennia. The missing heart points to something else, something possibly intentional. A punishment, a political statement, or a secret being hidden. These clues begin to stack: reused artifacts, a mutilated body, the missing heart. Together, they tell a different story than the one we've accepted. This wasn't a royal burial full of ceremony and reverence. It was one riddled with confusion, chaos, and possibly concealment. Even the state of the tomb's walls offers clues. When Carter and his team opened the burial chamber, they noticed something extraordinary. The paint on the walls was still wet. Wet paint in a desert climate? That's nearly impossible unless the tomb was sealed immediately after being decorated. Brush strokes were visible. Mold was already blooming on the surface due to trapped moisture. The scene screamed of a hasty burial. But why the rush? Was it because of a sudden death and no time to prepare? Or was the urgency deliberate, as if someone needed to hide a body or a secret before anyone could ask questions? More anomalies begin to emerge. Among the grave goods were tools and daggers made of iron, an extremely rare material at the time, sourced only from meteorites. One would expect such a valuable substance to be used for grand ceremonial objects, but some of these iron items were crude, even unfinished. Why waste precious meteoric iron on items that appear so carelessly made? One dagger stands out in particular. It is expertly crafted and believed to have been a diplomatic gift meant for Amenhotep III, Tutankhamun's grandfather. How did this prized item from a previous reign end up in a hastily assembled tomb? Other objects carry foreign symbols and designs, Mesopotamian motifs, Syrian patterns, and Babylonian animals like goats climbing trees and stylized trees of life. These were not part of Egyptian religious iconography and had no place in a pharaoh's tomb. What were they doing there? When all these clues are gathered, the mismatched artifacts, the foreign items, the sloppy execution, the burial appears less like a majestic tribute and more like a cobbled-together cover-up. Something about this doesn't align with the grandeur expected for the burial of a divine king. Even the physical representation of Tutankhamun has inconsistencies. Statues found in the tomb feature odd, feminine traits. Some appear to have breasts, soft facial features, or a body shape inconsistent with traditional male depictions. His throne shows a figure with red skin, a feature linked to the Amarna period under Akhenaten, when Egyptian art became abstract and symbolic. But this is the very era Tutankhamun tried to distance himself from. He restored the old gods and attempted to erase Akhenaten's radical legacy. So why would his throne reflect that same controversial art style? The contradictions only deepen. Some scholars now believe the body buried may not even be Tutankhamun's. One theory posits that it may actually be Prince Thutmose, the eldest son of Amenhotep III and brother to Akhenaten. Thutmose vanished mysteriously from the historical record. He was known to be a powerful warrior and heir to the throne. The body found in the tomb fits the age range and even physical characteristics of Thutmose. A ceremonial whip found in the tomb bears Thutmose's name. A painting depicts a healthy, strong charioteer, not the frail, sickly boy Tutankhamun is believed to have been. A lock of hair from Queen Tai, Thutmose's mother, was also found buried in the tomb. She died long before Tutankhamun's death, raising more questions. Would her hair really have been saved for her grandson? Or was this a mother buried with her own son? Now, here's where the theory takes a darker turn. What if the tomb itself, the story, the mask, the burial, was constructed? Not by ancient Egyptians, but by modern hands? What if Howard Carter, after years of fruitless searching, realized he may never find the actual tomb of Tutankhamun? and decided to fabricate one. It may sound outrageous, but Carter was under immense pressure from sponsors, media, and history itself. What if he came across an unfinished tomb, perhaps originally built for Nefertiti or Thutmose, containing partial remains and scattered artifacts? What if he saw an opportunity and took it? Could he have assembled the burial, taken a mummy from one tomb, treasures from another, and arranged them into the discovery of a lifetime? Could the golden mask have been refashioned from pieces? The wet paint and hasty seal, not a sign of ancient rush, but modern deception? It might explain why certain anomalies were never explained. And it might explain the secrecy today. Modern radar scans have revealed sealed chambers hidden behind the tomb's walls, rooms officials still refuse to open. Are they hiding something? Could those chambers contain the real tomb of Nefertiti? Or more items that contradict the accepted narrative? Even the DNA tests on the mummy remain controversial. Access is restricted. Data is incomplete. Independent researchers are kept at arm's length. Some suspect the results were inconclusive or manipulated to maintain a convenient truth. And there are signs that the real story has been kept hidden. But why? Perhaps to protect reputations, or to preserve a myth that has become too famous, too profitable to ever undo. We are left with a tomb that feels more like a storage closet than a sacred space, a mummy that doesn't match the legacy, artifacts that don't match the timeline, a discovery so full of contradictions that it begs to be questioned. Was King Tutankhamun really buried in that tomb? Or have we been staring at a magnificent illusion for over 100 years? It's not just a mystery about a young pharaoh. It's a story about what we choose to believe and what we're afraid to uncover. Because if even a discovery this iconic can be questioned, what else in history have we gotten completely wrong? If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this.